So the Jimmy Butler situation is kind of getting crazy. It's getting absolutely crazy. And now we have got his agent basically saying what Shams said was complete nonsense. And yeah, another day, another bit of drama within the National Basketball Association. Before we get on to that, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. Trying to hit 8.15k by the end of the day. We are 27 subscribers off. But anyway, let's talk about it, lads. Let's talk about Himmy Buckets, Jimmy Butler, and lads, all I've got to say, genuinely, all I got to say about the Jimmy Butler fella is I don't know what to believe at this stage. You would normally, when Woj tweeted something, you would assume it was real. Heck, like Chris B. Hain tweets out some stuff and you have to assume it was real. But now, you've got Jimmy Butler's agent tweeting out, basically just crashing out about Jimmy Butler. All right, listen, I gave you a pass yesterday because I was busy, but if you don't stop putting my name on your complete and utter made-up BS because you know you normally aren't worth my time to acknowledge. I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm a middle-aged dad, but just know it would indicate severe dislike. World, all this is fabricated. I've never, and honestly, it wouldn't help me or the position I represent to do anything that's been reported by said journalist. That is not great. Not great for the Shams fella. You might be calling him, like, he may not be Shams as a journalist. Shams might be short for shambolic. I don't know. Obviously, that's not what Shams is short for. Shams might even be his full name. I'm not even sure of that. Obviously, that's not the case. But in this situation, maybe. But, see in here, Shams for the players' PR team. Woj still on top. This is what Shams gets for being a sellout. NBA agents smell blood in the water to attack the new power broker. Agents standing on business. Rule of thumb, always trust Shams/Woj when it comes to this stuff. Shams makes things up all the time. And that's the problem, is that Shams makes things up all the time. I'm going to make that video eventually. And there's one huge problem with Shams. It's the reason for me, anyway. It can be tough to trust anything that Shams says. Because of the Brandon Miller situation. There was another situation. Oh, he took it out of his bio. The DraftKings partner. The whole DraftKings partner thing, I find it really difficult when it comes to Shams. Like, to really trust anything he said. And obviously he's now discussing a developing story on ESPN Countdown while the agent is going nuts about him. Which is kind of hilarious. But it is mad seeing agents clapping back on Shams. I don't think any agents ever did that to Woj, did they? Feels inevitable divorce is going to happen between Butler and the Heat. Pat Riley cannot be a fan of this shit show. No. I said this in my last video, that this is going to be a messy breakup. It's going to be an extremely messy divorce. And this is coming from somebody who loved Jimmy Butler. Like, if you guys don't know, I'm a Heat fan. And I've been a massive Jimmy Butler fan during a decent chunk of his career. I think Jimmy Butler was I loved him as a player. I really do like Jimmy Butler as a player. He'll go down as one of the best Miami Heat players ever. But nothing is ever simple when it comes to Jimmy Butler, especially when it comes to Jimmy Butler wanting out of a team. Or even if he's considering leaving a team. Just anything with Jimmy Butler, it's always going to be messy. This is Jimmy Butler we're talking about. This is not somebody else. This is Jimmy freaking Butler. And we got to always remember that this is Jimmy Butler that we are talking about. So, yeah, it is. It's one of those things. Like, it is a very, very just interesting thing that is happening with the Miami Heat. And I do wonder what they can get. Like, I wouldn't mind if you can find some way of getting Ryan Dunn and a pick from the Suns. It would be nice. From the Houston Rockets, if you can try to get Jabari Smith Jr., I wouldn't mind that. Or maybe a Jalen Green wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if they want to jump off Jalen Green. Even though he's probably a bit too similar to Tyler Herro. But you can never have too much scoring, I guess. At the same time, Jabari Smith, I think, would be great for Miami. I really do. I think he could be a good player you can put beside a Bam Adebayo. And if you can find a way of getting Jabari Smith, that would be huge for Miami. From the Warriors, there's nothing you can get. They're not giving you Wiggins and Kuminga. Like, you would have to get Wiggins, Kuminga, and a pick. Otherwise, you're not really going to get anything from that. And then it is the Dallas Mavericks. Like, you literally can't get Jimmy Butler, I'm pretty sure, for your Dallas without giving up Kyrie Irving. And the Dallas Mavericks are not giving up Kyrie Irving. One, I don't think Miami want Kyrie Irving. And two, Dallas aren't going to give up Kyrie Irving. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I wonder what happens because Jimmy's going to be traded. Like, we can't forget that Jimmy Butler, whenever he has these messy breakups, you never get your worth for Jimmy Butler. Maybe you could argue Chicago did, but, like, this is a hindsight thing. They got the 7th pick in the draft, Chris Dunn, and Zach LaVine. And by the way, Zach LaVine, yes, he did come good, but this was Zach LaVine right after an ACL tear. Zach LaVine was at that time injured with an ACL tear. Nobody knew if Zach LaVine was going to be good. He had very little trade value as he was a high flyer with an ACL tear. So they got very little value. In hindsight, worked out pretty well. You took Larry Markkinen with that pick from Chicago. At the time, it looked like Chicago got fleeced. Minnesota got Robert Covington, Dario Saric for him. If I'm not mistaken, was that all they got? I assume they must have got a pick too, but like they got nothing. And then Miami, sign and trade. They gave them Josh Richardson in the sign and trade. So I will say, you could argue Jimmy Butler wins the breakup every single time. But this one, I don't know. He's 35 years old now. Like, it's not 5 years ago. He's not. Was he 29 when Miami signed him? Like, this is not. And I get it, 5 years ago he got them to an NBA Finals. He's gotten to multiple NBA Finals. But I still don't know if Jimmy's value is that high, especially when he is on effectively an expiring contract. And if you give up anything for him, unless you give up another toxic contract, which the only team that can really do that are Phoenix, but then they have to give up a whole bunch of other stuff. 2031 first. And if I was Miami, I would not make that trade unless you can find a way of getting Ryan Dunn as well. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Mental that the agent is calling out Shams. And I don't know if it's trust Shams or assume he's lying, because if this was Woj and an agent was calling it Woj, I trust Woj. I don't know if it's time to trust Shams, if he has enough built up, enough credit in the bank just yet for that.